What is up? Hey, everybody, what is going on? It is Wednesday, the weekly Wednesday live stream check-in accountability time. Thank you so very much for being here. If you are here live, please do me the favor of putting something in the chat to let me know if you can see me and hear me so that I don't have any worries about technology. Folks, it has been another week. And I tell you, it was not the best week, honestly, for me as far as productivity goes, but like quality of life and like living things like it was all right. Checking out the chat, I see Pavan was here and then had to go, is going to catch it on the replay. Friend, when you are here and you are catching the replay, or anybody else who is here on the replay, please go down to the comment box and just let me know that you were here. And also, like, how's it going? You know, how are your sites? Like, how is your progress? I love hearing that stuff. I find it extremely motivational, like extremely motivational. And so just think of it as like helping me. I don't care so much about the YouTube algorithm, honestly. This channel is really all about just sort of like mixing and being, and it's not necessarily about, making this into another income stream. It's really just like hanging out. So that's what we are doing. Over in the chat, I see Margaret. What is going on? Our basically superhuman consistency woman here checking in to chat. What's going on? Thanks for being here. I see Niche Safari Chris. What is going on? People calling out Chris for his security video that he posted recently. Definitely a helpful video. I checked it out myself. There is Adrian. What is going on? And NK. Thanks, guys, for dropping in. Today, I have a list of stuff to talk about if I need it. But ultimately, like every week, we're here to chat about like how the week went and, answer any questions if people are struggling with something. Like, what is holding you back, right? Is there something that the rest of us can do for you? I mean, is there information or just something that will get you to the next step, whatever it is? Like, I might not know the answer. I mean, there's plenty of stuff I don't know the answer to, but somebody in the chat probably does, because let's face it, there's a lot of people here who know a lot more than I do about this stuff. We've got John Smith, DM. What's going on, John? It's great to have you this week. We missed you last week. And there's a Minted Empire, Keith. Hello, Keith. Keith is a great example of what can be done just with like networking. Because last week here, Keith was talking about launching his YouTube channel, right? I don't know if you recall, or if you were here. If you were here, I guess you know. But I invited Keith to drop the URL in the live chat so we could subscribe to his channel, but it didn't work out that way. It just didn't work, and so we got it later. But Keith has somehow managed to accumulate almost 100 subscribers in under a week, just because he just happens to already know everybody and is cool in the chat, and people are happy to share his channel. So I saw 2 videos up on Keith's channel, and I have watched them both. And they're videos that are documenting sort of the experience rather than reporting and teaching. And those are the kind of videos I love. So I will likely be an avid viewer of Keith's channel. But well done, Keith. And I think it's awesome. Let's see. Sabina is currently on the road right now. Talk about going above and beyond to participate in the live stream. On the road from St. Louis. My experience basically with St. Louis is like the arch. Like, that's the primary thing that I recall, is this gigantic arch that seems to serve really no purpose other than to just be like something tall in an otherwise like flat landscape. Oh, and drove from VA. I'm assuming that's Virginia. And that sounds awesome with children in a van. That sounds great. Adrian says traffic is going up day by day. Pretty happy. I am happy for you as well. The children, they stole the harmonica. So you're left with the pat on the back. Like, that's all I got. But that's awesome. Let's see. Awesome stuff. You're asking about Adrian's site's only 5 months old and hit 1,000 page views in a single day. Yeah, I think this is an aged site, is what I recall, Chris, as he started with an aged domain, and that's why This is awesome, but also that's how. Must be good keyword research. Keith says he's got one more video dropping in a couple of hours. Well, I'll be like, what you got there, Keith? You going to post another video? Please post another video. I can't wait. I love videos, like in the trenches videos. Adrian says, first video is published at the beginning of February. It's an expired domain, started as a test. Yep. Beginner's luck? I don't think so. I think that there was a lot of work that happened for Keith before launching his YouTube channel, and that is a big part of it. Sometimes the networking counts as that work. All right. So the first thing on the list is, I should actually cover something substantive. One is one of my sites got completely and totally, like, almost entirely slaughtered by a underground Google algorithm update that apparently rolled out over the weekend. Anthony says, what did he miss? And so far, it was just me sort of doing the song and dance of saying, hey to everybody, and then congratulating Keith on starting a YouTube channel and basically getting almost 100 subscribers in like 3 or 4 days in the same amount of time. Well, 3 or 4 days. And I was able to get the same amount of subscribers that he did in about 15 months. So he did in 3 days what I did in 15 months. So yeah, that about summarizes it. But anyway, back to the potential Google algorithm update. It's cool when your friends like reach out to you and say, hey, did you hear there was an update? But they get to be basically either the bearer of good news, you survived, or the bearer of bad news. And in this case, it was good and bad news because my MIGA site seemed to sail through like totally fine. In fact, had the best weekend ever, like, just like the straight, like looks like a hockey stick weekend. And then some of my other sites look like this. My case study from 2 years ago was kind of up a little. And then there's one where you see the line, and then like just like the line cannot get any straighter, like straight down. It was getting between 600 and 700 page views a day. And I checked it this morning, and yesterday it got 30. So I'm not even going to attempt to do the math. Let's just say almost 100. Like it's almost 100% dead. And this is a site that has been vulnerable to algorithm updates for the last 2 years, which is probably why I don't work on it all that often, because I feel like investing time and money into it may not be a good thing, but it's becoming clear to me that if I don't invest something into it, that it's just going to continue to bounce around like ping pong ball. So yeah, I was excited about the performance of my MIGA site over the weekend. I'm clearing pretty regularly now, almost 100 page views a day. So for a 4.5-month-old site, for me, I'm pretty excited about that. And I also crossed $2 a day in ads. I actually had one day that was $2.50 in a day for a site that's 4.5 months old. So this site should hopefully make between $40 and $50 in month 5 in ads, and it had like 1 or 2 sales on Amazon this month too, which I'm excited about. But it still just doesn't quite like ease the hurt of that other site, which had generally a good RPM for ads. It was over, it wasn't like $50, but it was over $20. And so to see that site go to 0 is just like, this is why I want to sell everything when it becomes valuable instead of holding, because it's just so anything could happen. Keith said, oh no, Google didn't confirm anything, I don't think. Hopefully just a temporary drop. Yeah, I went and checked Search Engine Journal. And then I also went and cruised the Paid Affiliate Lab Facebook group to look for the last week to see if anybody has anything, said anything and any drama over there, but it was really quiet. So I'm guessing it's some sort of tweak. It probably was an attempt to roll back something that happened in the update last month, and my site just got sucked into it. And then I did see Jasper did mention something about getting hit with it again, and I assume that it's the same thing as far as what is the problem or what caused it. I don't know necessarily that my site has anything in common with Jasper's site, because my site that is getting impacted a lot is a site that I bought a couple of years ago. And it needs a lot of work, and I suspect that Jasper's site is much better than mine in just about every way. So I'm not even going to try to speculate what the parallels might be there, because I don't honestly know. Market Explorer says, I am one of those from Spain. Well, welcome, Market Explorers from Spain. How's it going? Margaret says, maybe basic question, but did you check whether the pages dropped out of the index? You know, that is a great question. If I was doing some tracking with like a SERP robot or some sort of keyword tracking tool, that might be helpful, but that is one of those things that I just can't be bothered to do. I will check to see if there's anything for that site in particular for Google Search Console. The GSC data right now is updated, let's see, through Monday, so it doesn't show yet for yesterday or today, and it doesn't honestly look that bad in Google Search Console at this point. And I just think that the data probably has not updated over to here. What I will note, though, is that the pages that were getting traffic before are still getting traffic, just not as much. Because I went and looked at the page level to see just what pages, that were ranking, not that I can tell that, but they were getting traffic last week, and those same pages are still getting traffic this week. In fact, they got traffic yesterday. It was just much, much, much less. And I honestly haven't had a chance to really dive in it too deeply, because I just learned this basically yesterday, and I was too depressed to go really dig into it that much because I don't know yet. I'm going to watch it. And so the first thing I'm going to do is not change anything, right? I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to try to do anything. I'm just going to give it a couple of days or a week or even a month and just see what happens, because like a major change like that, I would expect it to be rolled back, because ultimately I don't think that Google's intent is to slaughter sites. It's just to tweak them. And so if the outcome of a tweak is sites get slaughtered, usually that rolls back in some way, which is why I expect Jasper's site to come back at some point. I don't know when or how or who or what, but I expect that too. Chris says that Keith is getting a great RPM, and I think I missed the information about Keith's RPM, but now I would love to know what Keith's RPM is so that I can be jealous or congratulate him for it. And Margaret, no worries about basic questions. This is not a guru level live stream, like, at all. In fact, the only thing I ask you to do is to smash the like button, basically, and that's about it. And then you will get this, whatever this person level of advice and help is, but it definitely is not like guru level help. I don't mind admitting at all that I still have a lot to learn. Keita says, thanks. I wish I could say the same for APMB. You know what I mean if you wait for video shortly. Let's see, talking about the site, said it sucks big time. I used to have a lead gen site that saw a massive drop in Penguin. I had too many exact match keyword anchor texts. It's nice to be able to know. Renat says, the reason why sites lose so much traffic is that a few positions go down makes so much different. Imagine going from position 8 to 12. Yeah, and I'm certain that if I did some actual keyword tracking, that I would probably know the answer to these questions, but I don't, not for this site, because basically the only sites that I'm interested in following day in and day out and really knowing what's going on is like the site I'm working on right then. And then everything else sort of just falls away and I just neglect them. And that's probably why I will never have a gigantic portfolio of sites, because I can't be bothered. I'm obsessed with one site, and that's all there is. But hey, if you have not gone to your Google Analytics in the last couple of days to check on your other sites, it could be a good time to go look. And I'm sorry if I ruined your day, like somebody did mine. Thanks, friend. Oh, there, Keith got a new YouTube subscriber. Thank you, Adrian, for heading over there. Keith says, how many posts on that site? So which site are we talking about? The site that got hammered has close to 1,000 posts. And I would say that 99% of them are crappy. And the reason I bought the site was because it was making a lot of money at the time. And I thought, okay, this would be a good site to hopefully try to make all my money back on before. It was like, it wasn't a big site. It wasn't a huge purchase, but I thought, oh, well, this will be a fun site to play around with and to work on and to learn on. And I am happy to report that I did all three of those things. I did work on it, I did learn from it, and I did earn. And I'm not sure if those were the first three things I said I was going to do, but I did those things. And now I work on other things. So, hey. Keith says, good coverage there. What about your backlink profile? I haven't looked at it in so long. I honestly haven't looked at it. And I'm not going to look at it or do anything else with it for a little while because it distracts me, first of all, from the site that I am working on, which is my MIGA site, which is growing by the day. I'm super excited about it. And yeah, it's like I see this site right now that's growing from, $1 to $1.50, and then $1.50 to $2, and then, cracking $2.50. And you say, okay, should I pour my time and attention into this other site that is struggling versus just continuing to ride the wave of the momentum of this other site? For me, because I've already put so much time and attention to this new site that is 4.5 months old that shows so much promise, I'm just going to put it there and then leave this site in the garage and maybe get to it one day and then maybe not. Renat says 1,000 posts and 600 page views per day. You better clean up the content, delete, merge, redirect. I agree with you. When I bought this site, it was getting a lot more traffic, and then just slowly watching it get older. And I 100% take accept fault for where the site is. But what happened to it was I was working on it and then it got hammered by Google, but recovered within a week. But it made me really cautious about doing a lot more with it. And I've spent more time watching it and less time investing in it because I realized that this site was vulnerable and I hadn't quite put my finger on what it was about the site. Ultimately, at this point now, it needs basically an overhaul. It has a lot of links to it, and the domain is 5 years old. So it would be a shame or it would be silly just to let it go, but it just needs a lot of work, time, and attention that I currently invest elsewhere. There is Income Grinders. What is going on? Friend, thank you for dropping in. He says, true, all could be back to normal in a week or two. Yeah, it's really too early to tell what's going on or why. I just thought I would, bring it up. And then for folks who may be in the same position to let them know that, they're not alone, right? It's not just you. And Jasper, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry that your site got hit again. And it's really easy to let these bumps take the wind out of your sails, because I feel that personally. But it's just keeping the eye on the prize. This is a great time for people to exit, right? To exit this industry and go to something else that they perceive to be less risky, which is fine. Leave the playing field for the rest of us. But just if you're committed now, this is not the time in the face of Google being Google to quit. It's just the time to double down and figure out what we're going to do about it and how we're going to ride this out. Margaret says, the new site has the accumulation of your learning and keep with it. I totally agree. It is literally, I feel like it is just the sum of everything that I've been doing for the past almost 3 years. In fact, I think this August will be, the end of July will be my 3-year anniversary, my internetversary, I will be able to officially say I've been in this for 3 whole years. And when I started this, I never imagined that I would be doing this, streaming every Wednesday when I first started this. I just never occurred to me. So here I am. It's been a wild ride. What does MIGA stand for? MIGA is the name of our projects for 2021. It's making the internet great again. MIGA, make the internet great again. We wanted to give it a name versus just saying, okay, the niche site project, which somebody else obviously more famous than us has, versus, just site one, site two, and that will also differentiate like who is in this community making a MIGA site. So we would know that we were all together doing this. And I think there's only a handful of people who are talking about MIGA sites, but the people who are like, you know, and I know who you are, and I appreciate you. Anthony says, that's how I feel about my main site and thinking about taking a break from the MIGA site, still having indexing issues. Totally. But you know what? I was talking with someone about this week. And I was looking back at really what prevented me from taking any one of the sites that I have in my portfolio to the next level. And I think in every single case, it was not lack of knowledge, even though that is an issue. It was not lack of experience, also an issue, or money. It was simply that I did not put enough time and attention and focus into that project. Basically, you just have to like dig your nails in and hold on until the thing is a success. And maybe that takes months, maybe that takes years, but it seems like every single person who is here on YouTube or out there in the world who has a big site, these are sites that they have not like taken their foot off the gas on, like at all. Like they just double down on their content, on their strategy, on learning, and did not give up. And you might say, well, I have a lot to learn about on-page SEO. Well, yes. That I have a lot to learn about writing better content. Well, yes. But in every single case, it just seems like these folks dug in and worked on a site. And so, it's like, it might feel like a good idea to say, you know what, I'm just going to stop working on this thing because of X problem or Y problem, or because I want to do this other thing. But in my case, I never circled back around to those projects. I always said, oh, well, I'll just come back to it in 6 months. But no, what I did was I would start a new site. I never came back to those old projects. They just became old projects that I neglected because I start new projects. So in my case, I will not be taking a break from my MIGA site. I promised 12 months of consistent progress and content, and I'm going to do that. And hopefully when I get to the end of year one, I will see the fruits of that labor and say, okay, I'm going to do the same for year two and not slow down on this. Just not making the internet great again. Yeah, Renat says, I don't spend time on sites that don't do well. I prefer to add more content to sites that are going up. Yes, exactly. So much, 100%, exactly. Sabina says, I had a really hard week mentally, and I thought the same thing. I thought, I know a lot of people are quitting right now. It is a good motivator. I don't know if like thinking about people quitting is like a great motivator for me, but it's I think back to when I started, 3 years ago, like let's talk about 3 years ago, and how many of those people who started with me are still here. And there's just really not many of them. But the people who are still here, most of them have made significant progress and have, I don't want to say reached their monetary goals or their project goals or their career goals here online, but every one of them is in a place where 3 years ago, would have given a lot of money or other things of value to be there. Like this place right here where I am now, like 3 years ago, I would have invested so much like money to be right here, or time or effort, or it just means a lot to be here. And I don't know what happened to all of those other people. I don't know what happened to them, but I think so much about the whole persistence and grit, and you say, okay, well, what do you really need to make a site successful, right? I mean, do you need money, or do you need this domain or this tool? I really think it's grit and resilience. Like in any case, I think you can succeed if you have those two things. Like you something bad happens, and then you experience it, you feel it, and then you get back to it, and you find some other way to make your way forward. Just those are the things that you need. Keith says, now we need MIGA. Make a million. Google Analytics great again. Keith, you really should have been around when we were coming up with the acronym for this, because I was very uninspiring when it came to what it was we were going to call this project. And so you can help us in 2022 as we're trying to come up with a name for the next round of this, because I have a feeling we're going to do this again. I think I'm going to try to start a new site every January and then just document it here on YouTube for 12 months or however long I feel like doing it, just because, I don't know, it's fun, and being held accountable to other folks who are doing the same. Like it really helps. Market Explorer says, you are inspiring. Thank you. I really actually feel like being a part of this group and the other people who are here like, chatting is it's what motivates me and what keeps me on track. So I'm going to turn it back around on you and say, well, you guys help me. It's a long winding road, says Income Grinders, and it is, but if you just stay on it, just stay on it. Sabina says, thank you. I've been thinking about how much more confident and knowledgeable I'll be in a year. Thank you for the story. How about this? How about how much more confident and knowledgeable you will be in 30 days? 1 month. Think about how much you have learned in the last 30 days. Because seriously, the way that the internet works, like the progress in your offline career and what you would learn in a year, I swear is like a month on the internet. So you say, okay, well, I can't imagine where I would be in a year. You're not even going to be on the same planet. You're not even going to be, you're going to look back at that person and you think, who was that person? I look back 6 months ago and I cringe. I cringe at what I was doing on YouTube. I cringe what I was doing on websites and creating content, because I've already grown so much in 6 months. And this is in my 3rd year. So think about where you will be in 30 days. You won't even recognize yourself from 30 days ago. It's insane. Just stay with it. Income Grinder says, agree, it's not rocket science, just need the grit and persistence. Yes, I agree. Renat says, it's all about who can do the boring work as long as possible. Oh my God. That's 100% exactly it. It really, really, really is. There are so many of us who are obsessed with starting new sites, right? Because new sites, that is the fun part, right? You've got the treasure hunt of like, trying to pick out the domain and then, the keywords and then writing the first like 20, 30, 40, maybe 100 posts. But after that, it is the grind. It is the grind. It's not exciting. It's not the treasure hunt, because you already did all the keyword research. You already did all the fun stuff. And now you just have to grind it out. Seriously, that is absolutely 100% what this business is about, is who can do the boring work as long as necessary to get to your goals. Yes. Yes. And yes. What other news? What other news do I have? Let's see. Ezoic is planning on launching Access Now, I think, one more time on June 1st and 2nd. I think Carl put out a post about it, Corn Broadband, about needing to sign up on his newsletter and stuff to get the link first. The link is going to be open for 2 days. So if you're thinking, oh my God, I got to be there at like 8 o'clock and like to be one of the first 100 people to get in, there's not going to be any drama about it this time around. So if you want to do Access Now, which is for sites that are under 10,000 page views or sessions a month on Ezoic, normally you need 10,000 sessions to get in. You're going to have 2 whole days. And there, I think, are going to be a handful of people here on YouTube who are sharing that link. You should know it is an affiliate link. And if you use the link from one of those sites, and that's the only way to get in on June 1st and 2nd, it is an affiliate link. But hey, it is what it is. So yeah, I will definitely be posting the link on the 1st, and it'll be open and out there for folks who want to use the link. Use whoever's link that you want, is what I say. And no worries and no rush about getting there first, because they don't have a cap. Like there's no, as far as I know anyway, there's no cap. And I think in the near future, they're going to be just rolling it out and making it available for everyone. I don't know that for sure. That's just my speculation. And I don't know when. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm not quite ready yet, I think I might in the future, good on you. I think it's going to be available to everyone in the future coming up. Income Grinder says, why did you start the new channel for streams? Sorry, probably not related topic. I'm happy to talk about anything. The reason that I was doing that is, one, I wanted to experiment. I saw an interview between CoffeeZilla and Graham Stephan, both of whom are creators on YouTube that I follow. And I think it was on The Drip, on CoffeeZilla's podcast or his interview show. And one of the things that Graham Stephan said, as far as advice for the CoffeeZilla dude, is he's like, you got to get your live streams and interviews off of your main channel. And the reasoning is that live streams are not evergreen. They are content that maybe people will tune into, that your current subscribers will click on, when they see it come through your feed, but that content dies. I mean, even if it is content that maybe is focused on a specific topic, that if it were its own video, that it would probably perform well in search and all the rest. But for some reason, live streams seem to be like sugar, right? They do really well for a short amount of time. But then I think, especially for regular streams, people, if they see that they missed a stream or they missed 2 streams, are they going to go back and watch the old streams, or will they just wait for the next stream or just catch up with the most recent stream? And in many cases, those old videos are just in your library, just dragging it down as far as your overall channel metrics. So I thought, for fun, that I would experiment and see what happens by taking the live streams off of the main channel and doing it over here. Also, I think that there were several people in my mix of audience who are interested in the live streams and who are not, right? Who would never watch a live stream. So they see the thumbnail come through on their YouTube and just never click on it, which takes down my CTR. So I thought, well, why not put the live streams and the interviews in a place where if people really like that content, they can consume it. It'll be there for them. And so far what I've seen is that the CTR on the video thumbnails is fairly good, and not necessarily because the thumb is good, but just because it's being served to people who really want that content. And the people who are not interested in the live streams and in the interviews, they don't get the notifications or thumbnails for that content. And so far, what I've seen is that overall my channel is performing better. So the other videos that I post seem to perform better and get more views over time. Another thing that I did recently was I went ahead and marked as private a lot of my library from 2019 just to see what would happen, because I was getting a lot of views from that content. But what I was noticing is that people will subscribe and then people will unsubscribe. And I thought, what if the issue, and this is something that Sasha Yanshin was talking about, I thought I would experiment with it. He was thinking that when somebody subscribes, right, they see a video that they like and they're like, I want to see more from this creator. And then they go on YouTube and they start to get served your older content. Maybe it's something from last week, which is a great video, but it also could be something from 2 years ago or 4 years ago. For me, I didn't necessarily want my newest users to be served my content from 3 years ago because, one, it might not be relevant, or two, it's not that good. And I think that people were getting served older content that was not relevant and not that great. So views overall on the channel are way down, right? Like down by 50%. But what I am seeing is that my subscriber count has stayed steady, right? Is growing at the same pace or even a little bit better than it was as of a week ago. It's too early to tell, honestly, whether or not it was a good idea. And I still have to figure out what I'm going to do with all those old videos because there's a lot of cool interviews in there. I've debated like making them like membership only. And I mean, I can't possibly imagine people wanting to be a member of my channel, but I guess eventually that could be something of value for folks, especially the interviews, just because there's a lot of great stuff in there and talking to cool people, but we'll see. Income Grinder says, so will the stream draw down rankings for other videos? Why not put in the channel? I think that's the idea. is that the stream, just the metrics overall, because that video performs poorly. Maybe these folks like they see the thumbnail come through. Like every time a thumbnail comes through and somebody doesn't click on it, I think that's a signal to YouTube that just gets sucked into the whole formula for whether or not YouTube is going to promote your videos. I definitely noticed that when I pulled the live streams off, that my other videos, just overall, the entire library started to perform better. Can I say for sure it's because the live streams were gone? I don't know. But I did see a lot of videos that weren't getting that many views start to get more views, and nothing else was changed. So if I started a channel again, would I do it the same way? 100%. The only way that I got to 1,000 subscribers so fast and got my watch time to monetization so fast was streaming. I think streaming is a great way to build a channel, so I would do it 100% the same way. But when you get to a certain size and your channel is a certain age, sometimes it makes sense to go back and start, doing some organizing. And that's just what I am doing. So CTR views, I think it does. And people say, oh, well, it's only at video level. But I am not ready to say that. I am ready. I am of the mind that there's a holistic part of the formula of the algorithm. I think there's a video level one, and then I also think holistically, when one of your videos is performing really well, it helps your whole channel, just in so many ways. Margaret says, I like Doug Cunnington's stuff, but he pushes out cuts of his old videos a lot. Yep. Doug is really good about experimenting. He's constantly trying things to say, okay, is this another way I can serve my audience, or can I make better use of this content that I created? He and I disagree on how many videos you can push out and how that can impact your audience. He says that the data suggests that you can push out as many videos as you want and it doesn't hurt your channel overall. I probably could push out more videos, but I don't think that I know enough yet to say one way or another, because the data for me suggests that pushing out more, like that many videos, like I just think that that at some point there are too many, that your subscribers can't watch them, that your subscribers aren't interested in consuming more content from you in any given day. Unless they're like super hot on it, like Meet Kevin right now, that guy could post 4, 5, 6 videos a day and everybody would watch them because it is like news that they need and they're interested in, and then it can work for them. But I don't think my content is anywhere near like Meet Kevin. Oh, so yeah, what else is on my list? Ooh, so back to Minted Keith, because Keith is here. Keith posted a video that talked about the 10 mistakes that he made that bloggers make. And so just because I'm so proud of Keith for starting his channel and being just jumping right in and making videos about it, I thought I would go through the 10 mistakes that Keith said he made and whether or not I'm having like a Me Too moment. And I wonder if folks in the chat could also say Me Too, like the number specifically, like they did those things, because I think it will be fun. And now I'm watching the people who are watching like jump off like the ship is sinking. Live streaming is so fun. There goes another one. All right. So in Keith's video, he talks about the 10 mistakes that he made. And so the first mistake, he said, number 10 was poor planning. So he started sites out without planning out what he was going to do with the site, where the site was going to go, how he was going to monetize it. I admit to doing that probably 4, 5, or 6 times. And I really don't feel like I had any sort of success with a site until I actually sort of planned out where the site was going from the beginning. The hard part about that for folks who are brand new is that you don't necessarily know what you don't know. So you honestly, I don't think you should feel bad if you are starting a site and you don't know where to go or how to go, because in this case, there's really only one way to find out, and that's to try it out and then make mistakes and then learn from it and see where it goes. Sabina says, currently doing that. Yep, actually, Sabina, I was thinking of you as I was talking about that because you're deep in the thick of it. And I'm so proud of you for just jumping in and trying to figure it out. And then the next time, and I see who else is doing it? Below average blogger, Mike over there is currently doing the same thing where his first one or two sites he didn't do that well. And the site that he's working on right now that he started more recently is just taking off and he's super excited about it. But that's what happens, what I think most of us have to do. I think it's really rare to start with a site and then just crush it. Income Grinder says, me too. I work agile, fail fast. Absolutely. You have to take action in order to learn. Mom Van Up talking about Mike East, below average blogger, loving his content. Yeah, he's a super cool guy. And by the way, if you ever need voiceovers, he's done a couple of voiceovers for me for my podcast and then some other projects. So if you need a voiceover for anything, he's really good at it and turns things around pretty quickly. Number 9 is too many websites. Yep. I'm currently living that dream right now. What happens when you have too many websites is that you ultimately end up neglecting them. And then things happen like the Google algorithm slaughters them and you don't even notice until somebody asks you how you did. And then you go check and you get the little, like sinking feeling in your stomach because you just realized while you're out in the world that your site got slaughtered. But yeah, too many websites is a really big, I think, mistake that I made and a lot of people make in the beginning because I think you have to work these sites a bit to really maximize what you can learn from them. And if you just jump from site to site to site to site, right, you learn maybe the initial startup of the site, like site to site to site to site, but there is still stuff to be learned from month 6 to months 12 in months 12 to 18 and 18 to 24, but it's rare that that people get there because they will go back and just start another site. And I'm not accusing anyone of doing that. I am admitting I'm admitting that has been me. Absolutely. Income Grinder says I love many. And by the way, if you need a Swedish voiceover, Income Grinders can do Swedish voiceover, which is awesome. Adrian says you need to fail. This way you learn from your mistakes 100%. But somehow in this world, we've developed this idea that failing, that making mistakes is a bad thing, that you should feel terrible and that failing means that you should stop. And I think to succeed in this business, you have to look at a failure as a good thing. It's a learning opportunity. You say, okay, I tried that. It didn't work. And not go back and do that same thing again. Or just maybe you don't know what it is that you did, but you say, okay, every single time you try it, it's going to get better. Recovering domainaholic. I did talk Sabina off the ledge. I will take credit for that. She was ready to start a new site, and I don't think she's ready to start a new site. The next thing on the list, Minted Keith, his mistakes was way too much time spent on design. Now, that is one that I did not spend too much time on because I'm not very good or interested in making things pretty. I mean, look at my set right here. Look at the most that I do to get ready for my YouTube videos is shovel my kids' crap like out of the way. And so that it looks like somewhat neat, like I have things together. So design was not one of the things I did, like logos and the rest. But I will admit what he said about this was it was easier than writing. So it was just this, it was like procrastination, right? You find something else to do that feels like you're pushing the site forward, but it's really not. And you can find yourself doing that a lot with tasks when it comes to website. I think a lot of people do that with keyword research, right? They think, oh, okay, well, I'm doing keyword research, so the site is moving forward, I'm making progress. But really what you're doing is finding something else to do rather than write content. And I will admit to that. That is totally me. I really what you got to do is focus on the things that will actually make the site move forward. And you look at it, will a logo get me more traffic? I mean, really, will more keyword research actually get me more traffic? Because in most cases, most of us have done at least 1,000 times more keyword research than we need to do. I mean, I have 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 spreadsheets with keywords. I mean, I'm never going to get to them. I mean, let's be honest, because what happens after I write 30, 40, 50 articles is I look at the articles that are performing well. I go to my big data analytics in Ezoic and look at what has the highest RPM, and then I just write about stuff like that. I don't need to do more keyword research. I just need to work on the articles that I have set up, but it feels like a task that is moving the site forward, but just isn't. And you can look at what you're doing and say, okay, is this task really helping me earn more money? In most cases, if it's not writing content or setting up something like, an info product or, working on ad placement or whatever. I mean, in many cases, though, it's probably procrastination disguised in the form of like a to-do. Income Grinder says, nah, design for whom? Google Reach HTML. Margaret says, zero design on my MIGA site. I must do something about a homepage sometime. Yeah, I have a really garbage looking homepage going on the MIGA site, but that's how it is because it's not my focus right now. There's Will jumping on. I just finished my overtime. What's going on, Will? We are actually going through Minted Keith's mistakes bloggers make video. I'm just going through and talking through the mistakes that he said that he made and talking about them, trying to get people to admit or not whether or not they were one of them. And if you are here also and working in the background, that is cool. You don't have to participate in the chat, but I would love to know if you're here, just because it's great to know who the folks are that are lurking, and smash the like button. If you could get a chance, if you would remember to do that, that would help me a lot. Number 7 is he said, I think I wrote a $sign there. I'm guessing that it was spent too much money or invested in things that he didn't need upfront. That's one thing I'm really good about doing, but I think a lot of people get really obsessed with tools and thinking, okay, like this is the thing that's going to make my site work. And in most cases, the answer is probably not. But it's really easy to get sucked into those things because you want things really badly. Perfection. Oh, yeah. That's also something I don't struggle with. Oh my gosh. I am like the queen of done is better than perfect, but that is to my detriment, because I think what I was always thinking was done is better than perfect. So I would just hit publish on so many things that maybe if I had just worked a little longer on, they didn't need to be perfect, but maybe they could have been better. And I think in many cases, there's a lot of content that I have on some of my older sites that's just not that good because I didn't spend enough time on there. So I honestly think there's a balance there that you have to find. Number 5 is too many domains. That's one thing I don't do, is buying lots and lots and lots and lots of domains. I tend to just focus on the stuff that I have and not go out and buy domains for sites that I'm not planning on working on in the future. Number 4, he said trademark infringement issues with domains. So maybe buying exact match type domains as far as like, I don't know, Nike shoes, like Nike, like best Nike shoes, those kinds of things. That wasn't something that I ever did. Sabina says, perfectionism got me this week. Oh, I've written 42 articles, and all of a sudden I found a keyword I thought was gold and freaked out trying to write about it. Yeah, it happens, but I think what you just have to do is like recognize that it's happening, and then just say, okay, here's what I want to accomplish, and then just say, this is the end. I am done. This is it. Sharat says, and hey, what's going on? Welcome. I don't know that I've seen you in a stream, so welcome. It says, I watched most of your live streams later. First time I got to see it live. Welcome. Yeah, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. I don't know everything, but folks here know plenty. How many websites do you have? I think around 10. I really am only working on one right now, and I'm basically ignoring the rest of them because, let's face it, for me, I'm obsessive about one project at a time. And so I have 10, but ultimately I'm really only proud of one of them, and it's the site I'm working on right now. Income Grinder says, you can never have too many domains, or can you? Well, I think that you can, unless you're a domainer and you can find some way to sell those domains at a later date, because otherwise you're just paying for renewal fees for domains that don't do anything and that you will never have plans for. McKee says, hopefully they'll be ranking for you in a few weeks' time. But you know what? If they're not ranking in a couple of weeks, that's okay too. Sometimes it just takes a while for things to happen. And, for all of us, so many of us that are struggling with indexing issues, like I have been in my search console basically on the daily, which is what I'm looking at right now, just going and checking to see, what is in the index and what seems to be out of the index, and just making sure that things look good over there. But sometimes you don't have any control over that, especially with a site that is newer. Let's see. Number 3 was, my handwriting is terrible, but it looks like he says using writers that were not good. With a new site, especially in the beginning, I really think that writing your own content is really important. It's such a huge thing to be able to supervise the content that you're outsourcing. And if you don't know what good content is or how to create it yourself, you can't supervise it. And that is something that I am 100% guilty of with my case study from 2 years ago. I got really excited about outsourcing and the possibility to just get content created for me fairly affordably by other people. Problem was that I didn't know how to supervise it. I didn't know how to tell them what it is that I wanted. And I wasn't willing to spend the money to get the content written by really experienced people. And frankly, I didn't know the difference. I mean, if it, let's like totally brutally honest, I was still learning, and I am still learning. So let's just put that out there. I'm still learning about what makes content good. And so I couldn't supervise it. And so that's one of the reasons why that site never really did that well and continues to kind of bounce up and down, is because I didn't know enough. So I really think that people need to write their own content for a long time until they can come up with an idea of what makes it good, because then it's really easy to supervise. I get content now and I can scan through it, know right away whether or not I want to use it. And then I also know what needs to be done to bring it at least to somewhat close to the level of what I would like. But in the beginning, I didn't know. I really didn't know. George Flipper says, what's your opinion on using iframes in your blog content? I will have to kick that to the chat, because the things that I use in my blog content are the written words and then 1 or 2 images. That is it. I'm really obsessed right now with keeping things as lean as possible. And so I don't do anything else. But other folks, if you have an opinion on George Flipper's question, I'd be happy to know it. Sabina says that she just joined Project 24 and I'm trying to learn how to write again. Yep, that can be a great place for folks. They do focus a lot on writing content over there, and it can be a great place. There is Stiggs. Man, Stiggs, I feel like you haven't come to harass me in a long time. Where have you been? Have I been that boring? Seriously. He says, it's that bad. I'm just saying. It's super scattered, and I think it's bad. I think it needs a lot of work, but the scattering is probably a big part of it. It just didn't go deep into what I needed to go into at all. There's so many reasons why it's not that awesome. He says, miss those capital letters. I know, right? I don't know where we have been without the capital letters. Turn around the wrong way. Let's see. Number 2 of the 10 things that Keith said that he did wrong was social media efforts. And that is another thing that I can definitely say I've not spent too much time in. I do think that I did waste some time trying to do everything, right? Like trying to focus on Google organic search and Pinterest and Facebook and Instagram. And I think any one of those things can work. You just have to really focus in on the one thing, like the one traffic channel, until it is successful, and then move on to try to add the other things. I don't think, though, trying to really do a lot of stuff on Instagram at the same time you're really trying hard to create content, that's going to work for you. So I would just say pick 1. Stig says, I am realizing adding embedded vids is a daunting task. Yeah, I don't even bother. I have embedded YouTube videos in the past and content, and I just can't be bothered at all. And then number 1 on his mistake list was not doing keyword research or writing content without keywords in mind. And I think most of us in the beginning can if they were being honest, will admit to having done that. I definitely did, because I didn't realize keyword research was a thing. And basically, what I would do is say, okay, well, here's what I'm doing right now. Let's write a post about it. Here's like I started another like lifestyle blog in the very, 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 very before time, the beginnings, and then just wrote about stuff that I was doing. Like, here's what I made for dinner, and posted some pictures of what I made, and here's where we went. And I look back now and realize those posts never had a chance ever, because they weren't at all made with the thought of what someone might be searching for. It was kind of like, think of it like a diary in a way. I say, thinking about like a traditional vlog, because in the old days, I don't know if anybody here remembers LiveJournal, but I had back in professional school, I had a LiveJournal, and I would just write like, here's what we did today. And thinking about blogging like that. And it just, no surprise that it didn't work. Didn't work at all. Keith says to Sabina, well done. It's a real grind, and writing is one of the most difficult things. I must be in the wrong game. And there is Niche Informer. Jesse, what is going on? Jesse, I am happy to toot his horn for him. I think applied for AdThrive with a site, meaning he got a site up to 100,000 page views a month. And being in his Facebook group, it's fun to see just the little updates flying through where he'll post his income for the week, and just seeing those little wins. I do find them to be motivating, just to see, okay, here's somebody that I know, that I've talked to, who I think I understand his strategy and what he's doing. And if I just keep doing what he's doing, then eventually I will get there too. I truly believe that. I really believe it's a matter of time and resilience. Jesse says, yep, I have AdThrive ads live on the site as of today. I'm going to give you a pat on the back. Of course, I'm going to take it for you because I can't give it to you, but that's still exciting. That's like one of those things to check the box. I did it. Right up there with, selling a site for 7 figures, like, check the box. I did it. Oh yeah, that's speaking of selling sites. I just saw this morning really quick. I was listening to Alex's live stream from, I think, yesterday or this morning or sometime, where he sold Best Roof Box for $70,000, which is exciting. It's fun to see people sell sites. Like, you watch that site. He worked on that site on his live streams for months, years, and then to see how valuable YouTube can be, because it sounds like it was somebody who wanted to remain anonymous. So we don't know who bought it, but it was somebody who was probably in the community who saw the site and was watching him work on it, and basically knew the ups and downs and the ins and outs of the site, and may have made it much easier to sell a site privately. So exciting for Alex. And I sent him a quick message on Skype, to be like, oh my God, that's great. Because I do think it's exciting. Sharat said, I started in 2018 and didn't do much until October of last year. Yep, I also started in 2018 and totally know how that goes. So I learned a lot from your videos. Thank you. There is much still to be learned, I assure you. I'm now reaching 50,000 sessions in 30 days. That in the last 30 days, so 50K. So how old is that site? Truly, how old is it? I'm super curious about that. Any suggestions on improving web core vitals? So I'm not the speed queen at all, because I don't like to use a lot of stuff. One of the things right now I'm on Ezoic and I'm using Leap. Another thing that I'm doing is trying to use as little on my site as possible overall. So My niche probably could use a lot. Well, niches, there's many of them, but the site I'm working on right now, I could do a lot of photos, and I'm just choosing not to. I'm choosing to do one image in the post, and then just not doing a lot of stuff for the site to have to load. Just trying to think, okay, what can I do to make the site as light as possible? I don't use any sort of pop-ups or email captures or just anything in particular. I also think that knowing what element or what item or what thing on your site is causing Web Core Vitals problems is helpful. So, for example, if your LCP, your largest contentful paint rating, is really high, you got to figure out what that is so you can actually work on that. When I was first trying to figure out last year, when Google started talking about Web Core Vitals, I didn't know what that stuff was. And so I was using Page Speed Insights and just putting in the sites that I knew of, and random sites, and it would tell you what your LCP element was. And it was so, I don't want to say fun or funny, but interesting to see that some of the things that you wouldn't expect would be the LCP element. Like in some cases, it was the cookie, the little cookie notice was the thing that was screwing up the LCP. So you can try like all of the things, like all of the tools, hosting, all of the stuff. But if you don't actually understand what is causing the problem for your metrics, like what is causing the thing to be read, then you're kind of just shooting in the dark. Like you're just sort of trying things and the hoping and praying that the numbers will get better, when it could be something like your cookies bar on the site. And how would you know unless you work to investigate that a little more? So that's my advice. There are lots of tools out there. There are lots of great videos out there. I'm like I said, I'm using Leap and having a good experience with it so far, but it's not like an instant thing, like you flip the switch and it just works immediately. I had to work through a lot of suggestions, and then some of them I ignored. And there's just no, I honestly don't think that there's just one thing like install this super pack and then everything will be green. I think it does take some tweaking and working and figuring out specifically what is causing the problem and working on to fix it. Jesse says WP Rocket plugin is great. There you go. I know a lot of people who are using WP Rocket. Some people are doing what is it? They're doing NitroPack. There are folks that are really focused on, I have the CDN, and then I have this super mega awesome server hiding in a cloud, in the Himalayas. Like there are lots of ways to get there. But I think like understanding what's causing the problems is an important step towards fixing it. Let's see. Income Grinders. I added your one thing video to my favorites. Excellent advice. Apparently, Income Grinders has an excellent one thing video that we should all check out. Smush and Hummingbird plugins are similar. I was using, what was I using? I was using Reswish It. And with Leap, I don't need it. I was using some other image. I have used other image optimization stuff, and those things like don't play well together. So basically dumped on just about everything. Just about everything. And I'm actually giving Leap a go. And so I can see, in 3 or 4 months how it actually is. Yeah, his name is Stiggs, and it's capital letters or capital letters and backwards, I think. We don't know why he does that, but he just does that. All right, folks, it is the top of the hour. I'm going to check my list of things, and I'm certain there was stuff that I was planning on talking about, but I didn't get to it. Thank you so much, Keith, for giving us something to talk about. The 10 things in the video, the 10 mistakes. I admitted to many of them. I'm certain that there are those of you who also experienced those things and didn't mention in the chat what was going on. Bye, everyone. Thanks for your Yep, all the things. And they're also upside down. Stiggs's letters are also upside down. So that is the puzzle for the day. The question is, why? That's what everyone would like to know. Folks, we will be back next Wednesday for the meetup. Come on out. hang out, bring your questions if you got them. And otherwise, let's just drink coffee and shoot the breeze. It was a pleasure speaking with you. I'll see you next Wednesday. Take care, everybody.